welcome to the Paths We Take podcast. I'm your host, Jordan DeSange. Let's hit a path. All right, you guys, Run is one of my favorite sunglasses brands here in Australia. They sell performance-driven sunglasses that look good, that are super crystal clear, but also have some amazing quality to them as well. It is another Australian-based brand. They are based out of Sydney, and they just sell some great-looking sunglasses that can be worn for running, cycling, just walking, whatever it might be. They have something for everybody. Recently, they have just launched a brand new colorway through all of their sunglasses out there on the market. So you can get gold ones, you can get blue ones, they have pink ones. I literally have 3 or 4 different colors now. And I have not been wearing anything else for my runs. What I love about the Run Sunnies is that they adapt to the changes in light that you go through while you're running. So when you're running, it's so annoying needing to always take off your sunglasses because you're going through a shady part and then you're going to the sun and this and that. These sunglasses are built to adapt to the changes of light so that you can just keep them where they are and not need to have to worry about taking them on, putting them off, whatever it might be. Definitely check out Run. You could also use code Jordan10 to save yourself some money as well. So thank you, Ree, for providing that code. And score yourself some great sunnies. Thank you, guys. And very easygoing, just to
take
chat.
my shoes off.
Yes. But the first thing that I do ask everybody is, if the person listening right now had an autobiography, I know that you have a story already out there, but can you give us some cliff notes and a little bit of a insight for the listener, basically, on who you are?
I really struggle talking about myself in person. It's better for me to write it. So if I'm thinking of myself, I would think of myself as I have written myself in the book. It's the best way that I can verbalize it. I am a strong woman raised by a woman who had a lot of trauma and was passed down to me, unfortunately. I am the older sister. I've got 2 younger brothers. I now have 2 of my own boys. I am a soccer coach, a uni graduate, a marathon runner, a published author now. I've always been a creative in every aspect. I've got a diploma in photography and imaging. That was what I had finally finished uni. It had to be extended for the last, I think I did an extra 2 years on top of it for when I got sick. But to be a university graduate is massive for me. First one in my family to finish grade 12 and be a university graduate. So that was huge for me. I'm strong-willed, very strong-headed. I know what I want, very opinionated, and I will let no one walk over me.
Was that something that has developed, or?
I think I've had that forever.
Okay, all right.
I think I've had that forever, but obviously when you're young, you don't know. You just think you're a bossy little girl. But my mum always said, you've always just had this opinion, and you knew from a young age what you wanted. I'm not a follower. I like to set trends. I don't follow trends. I like the timelessness of fashion, and I feel like I've been here before, so I'm a bit more vintage than I would follow a fad or a phase. I think when you're in high school, everyone goes through that year where you just want to be like that girl, or you want to go in that cool group, and you don't know what that costs you until later on. I remember in grade 8, I did French immersion, so I was the highest scorer in my grade 7 Japanese assessments. And my Japanese teacher was French, and she said, you're off to high school next year, would you want to do French immersion? And I was like, what the hell is that? And it was entirety of year 8 in French.
Oh, wow.
Maths, like literally home economics, everything was in French. And of course my mum was like, yes, you're going to do that. So I tested for it, got in, great. And because it was such a secluded group of students, mainstream, you were kind of removed from the mainstream kids, right? And there were some kids there that I shouldn't have been hanging out with, and my mum had said to me, I just don't want you hanging out with them. And of course I fought her. I was like, you idiot. Like, these are my friends. How can you do that to me? And then I just moved on.
Yeah.
And I never looked back.
Yeah.
And I think that was like the precipice of knowing, listen to her. She's pulled you from something that could have been really dangerous, because I know what those girls got up to the years following and where they landed. And that set me on a good course.
Right.
And I chose, every person that is in my life is now here for a reason, and they serve me a purpose, and they serve my family a purpose, and they don't bring me down.
Yeah.
And that, I think that grade 8, that group of grade 8 girls really had created that terrible dynamic I didn't want to be a part of. I thought I wanted to be because that was cool. Like, they're the cool chicks. Why can't I be a part of that, Mum? That's cool.
Yeah.
And then once grade 9 hit, it was probably the best decision I ever made, because I now have the friends that I'm still talking to from grade 9.
Yeah. And I think that's so important, because like, we have the power to make those decisions.
Yeah.
And like, that's phenomenal at that young age. You made that decision, you know, because I think like a lot of the times when we think of somebody being the bossy person or whatever, or the strong-willed person, like, you know, you could have just been like, no, I'm hanging out. 100%. But like, to make that decision is quite phenomenal. And I think that's something now, like, you see through reels a lot of the times, people posting about like, you know, your support system is everything, and you putting yourself around the people that you need to be out is important. So it's cool to see that you did that at that young age, and that's probably carried on through life. Like,
it did.
That's an important skill set, I think, for everybody to have, really.
It also taught me that people are going to come and go, and that happened throughout my entire life. But I will easily cut someone off. I don't look back. If you screw with me, you treat me poorly or treat my friend poorly or my family, see you later, snippy, snip, snip.
On to the next.
Bye-bye to you.
Yeah.
And I don't look back.
Yeah.
I don't wallow in it. I don't go, but maybe I could have been nice. No, it happened for a reason. If for some reason the universe melds us back together through whatever situation, then maybe I'd give it another shot, but I don't go to an extra effort to meld and mold that friendship back to what it was, because it never will be. If I've cut the cord already, there's always going to be a disdain there and heartbreak or questions, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't want that hanging over my head, so I just cut the cord and see you later. Bye-bye.
Yeah. What about regret? Do you look at regret at all? Or
my son was actually talking to my 11-year-old was talking to me the other night, and I said, we have this book that my mum had bought him. It's a really chunky book, like 250 questions, and it's just random questions, just like things you'd never think of asking your 11-year-old.
That's kind of cool, yeah.
Yeah, we do it before bed, so it helps him clear his mind. And one of them was like, is there anything in your life that you would regret, that you've regretted or regretted not doing? And I think the first thing that comes to mind is pushing harder when I was younger to go to uni.
Okay.
Because that wasn't in my realm. That wasn't an idea. We were a very poor family, single mother, 3 children, mental illness, that type of thing. So that wasn't a like, hey, you finished high school now, you're going to go to uni now. That was never a thing. When all my friends went off to uni and I just didn't. Yeah. So I think if I could go back to my younger self, it wouldn't be to change friendships. It wouldn't be all of that happen naturally and organically.
Okay. Yeah.
But it would be to go to uni.
Okay.
Because I wanted so much.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a dancer. I was a great dancer, great singer. That creative side to me has always been fostered.
Yeah.
But not to the point of success.
Yeah.
And I know success looks different for everybody, but I'm a big high achiever, and I set my goals real high. So uni for me would have been incredible. But on the flip side, would I have been able to handle it going through everything that I was going through back then? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I really would have given it everything. Yeah. And failure isn't an option for me. So I think back then, school was my safe space with all my family dramas. And so I think uni would have been the same thing for me.
Yeah.
So I regret really not pushing and asking more questions about that. I know that sounds really small, but that would have set me on a different path of my life.
Yeah. But I think it's all relative, right? Like, we all have things that we think are big, right? So I don't think it's, you know, sounding small or anything like that. And I think too, like, it's very interesting talking to a high achiever because, you know, regretting things, I think, are sometimes things that high achievers hold a little bit more dear, right?
Yeah.
Just because I feel like I'm a high achiever as well in a lot of aspects. And I feel like, you know, when I don't achieve something, or when I look back at something that I feel like could have made me potentially better or whatever, like it is something that we hold a little bit closer, I think. So I find that interesting because, you know, you talk to some people about regrets and they're like, nah, not really. Or like they regret everything.
Other way.
But like, I think it's a bit different talking to a high achiever about something like that, really.
Yeah.
When it comes to, because like, I find it interesting your experience with depression, because I think like a lot of people experience depression personally, really, but your experience was more of that external, you know, from your mom, really. And you talked about that, of course, in the book.
Yeah.
What do you think that did? Like, what was your experience like with depression, and how did that carry on into your coming years, really?
Because I was so young when I'd realized what it was for her, and that there were so many days she couldn't pull herself out of it.
Yeah.
And I truly think now I realize that there was no way out of it for her.
Okay.
And I had to be kinder to her. It wasn't as easy as me saying, you'll be all right tomorrow, just sleep it off, walk it off, go to the gym. It's not, you can't fix it.
Yeah.
And I think it was a big hurdle for me to live my life and grow into the woman I wanted to grow into, but still be holding her hand in a sense and know she had me.
Yeah.
And to see her in her deepest, darkest moments, and there were a lot of them, and to know that I genuinely, I couldn't pull her out of it. I just had to sit there with her and let her cry, or not let her talk and just sit in the silence.
Yeah.
Just be in the same room as her. That comforted her enough. But then I grew into a teenager, and I was very social, and I had a life, and I wanted more from my life. But I think I had been so conditioned to stay close to her that I didn't really foster my truth, because I didn't want to leave her behind.
Right.
Because I thought she'd kill herself.
Yeah.
That's the honest.
Yeah.
And I
and to hold that at his young age, like teenage years, is quite huge, really. Because you don't necessarily fully understand as well. Like, of course you did, but I think a lot of kids, because you're a kid at that age, don't fully grasp, like, you know, what depression really is. And you seem to grasp it when you were a kid and then had to kind of navigate it on your own, really. What was that navigation like for you? It
was about, honestly, all her safety.
Okay.
And her happiness. And to this day, I don't think she really knows what that is.
Yeah.
I think she thinks it's her children, us. And that's fair, that every mother thinks that. You put 50,000 mothers in this room that'll go, my children are my world.
Yeah.
No one is questioning that. But I wanted more from life for her.
Yeah.
And I think the depression held her so strongly that it created a lot of fear in the world. And you combine that with her past trauma and her generational stuff that she wasn't able to, you know, wipe clean of her. She's carried that through life with her. So it's a big baggage, a big set of crap she's had on her back her entire life and not been able to unpack.
Yeah.
And I've tried to do it the older I've got. But then I have to be careful of my peace also, and me breaking off those trauma bonds. That was huge for me. And I didn't realize that I had done it till probably maybe when I got married.
Okay.
And my husband had said, you know, you're nothing like them. But I stuck around. I stayed close for her because I didn't want to leave her behind.
Yeah.
I'll always have that fear. Because I know truly deeply that without me and my brothers and now my sons, her grandchildren, she feels alone. And that makes me very sad for her. She has watched me prosper and nearly die 3 times, and she's been at the births of my children, and we are very close. But the negative side to that is that I've absorbed a lot of her own inconsistencies.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know how to wash that off. It's not easy. It's just going, she's my mum, she'll be right. I can't do that.
No.
I'm getting better.
Yeah.
But it's about finding a healthy form of separation for her, where she knows she can go on her own. She's going to be all right.
Yeah.
If she needs me, I'll be here.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like I've held her hand since I was little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so hard because there's not an answer, like I think with depression, I think with relationships with people with depression, or even depression yourself, like there's no right answer of how to handle it, really. Like we're all just trying to navigate it at our own means, and I think survival is a huge thing for a lot of people, really. Yeah. What is survival to you, and how do you think you survived those years?
Survival in the literal term is quite aggressive.
Yeah.
And survival without fight is just existence, to be honest. I don't think anyone's really doing it right, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think we're all second guessing every choice we make.
I agree.
We're all still making mistakes. But survival for me is growth. If I am 1% better tomorrow, I'm surviving. I'm not, and I'm living. They come hand in hand for me. I don't think they're separate. I don't think they're separate little entities or processes in life. But that's not an easy answer. I think for my mum, she was trying to survive, and in turn, she never lived. She's never found the world to be a safe haven. She's always feared a sense of it. But survival for me is growth and learning from a mistake and always moving up and clawing my way to the top, no matter what it looks like, how ugly it looks like. I have to get there. That's survival for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think, like, I know you were saying that you think that you always were that way, but I think too, like, when you go through experiences like you've gone through at that age, like, it does, I guess, I don't want to say toughen you up at all, right? But I think, like, you do get tools from things like that, really. Yeah. Like, do you think that, you've gained skills from those experiences?
Yeah, and it always comes back down to the generational trauma, watching my nan, my auntie, and my mum all repeat the same mistakes. Yeah. And I saw that from very, very young, and it wasn't pretty. Yeah. And with that came a lot of guilt, because I loved these people and I loved the men that treated them the way that they treated them. But that strength, I think, was imposed on me, and I have to give my mum some credit here. I have to say, although she had moments where a lot of moments of weakness and self-doubt and self-worth was at an all-time low all the time. That's how she was raised. Yeah. She didn't want that for me. Yeah. So I think she pushed me out as far as she could without being fearful that I'd leave. Right. And then I created my own world and my own identity through that. Yeah. And I became brave, and it was almost like a little bit of a leash. She extended the leash a little bit. She's going to be all right. And then she'd bring me back. And then, you can go out tonight, but just come back tonight. You can go out tonight, but come back by 10. That was a different level of parenting, because that's what was instilled in her. Don't talk to boys. Don't go down the street. Everyone's going to rape and murder you. Don't look at that man. Don't go in that car with that man. Don't stand near that fence. You'll be murdered. Like, that was so much fear instilled in her since birth. My grandparents did a little bit of that to me, but not to that extent. And so I have to be kind to her to say that was her best. That's all the tools she had. And with what she had, I took my little tool bucket and I made it whatever I needed to do. And I built this life that I've built with those little tools. But in all honesty, I think she just needed to be maybe pushed out into the real world to see if she could survive it, instead of going, you can't survive it. That's not raising a child. That's stunting them. And her growth was stunted. And she didn't want that for me. So it worked for her to allow me to do X, Y, and Z but make sure that I came home every night and stayed close enough that she could monitor everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's where the high achiever comes into, because I think it's such a common story where, you know, that generational trauma does get passed on, and then people, you know, you hear, oh, the kids follow the same footpath as the adults and whatnot, but it sounds like, you know, that wasn't your experience really, and that's where I think maybe the high achiever comes into, like, it takes a certain mindset for somebody to pull themselves, no, I need more, I want more, really. Was it a want or a need for you?
It was a need.
Okay.
Just to purely, I think the want was after.
Yeah.
Only because I got a taste of what I was capable of. But I knew if I needed, I did it because they needed me to be strong.
Yeah.
And if there were two of us being depressed, anxious, and unhappy in that household, none of us would have survived.
Yeah.
So there had to be an anchor somewhere else, and it was me.
Yeah.
And I tried to hide a lot of it from my little brother, who's 2 years younger than me. I think I did a good job. He's alive and he's well.
Yep.
He's got his own fears and things he needs to probably deal with, but he's a good human. And he was loved by 2 women and raised by 2 women. And then my youngest brother came along, and same thing, those generational traumas that hurt my mum's just filtered down, and I just slowly pared away. Just like slowly peeled them off me. Don't want that one, don't want that one.
Yeah.
And I was very young when I started doing that, but I didn't realize that. I don't know what generational trauma was when I was 12.
Yeah, yeah.
No way. It wasn't even in my bloody language book.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was like mind-blowing. And it wasn't until I'd gone through my near-death experiences that my husband had said, you have nothing, there's no link except for your genetics to these women. You are absolutely nothing like them. Look at what you've done and built.
Yeah.
And look what they haven't.
Yeah.
And it's, again, then it comes back to a big guilt trip. I feel like shit because my mum hasn't succeeded.
Yeah.
Because my auntie died unhappy. Because my nan died unhappy. Like, that's shit for me. And when my mum turns to me and says, I want to be like you when I grow up, that's not cool for me.
No.
I don't like that.
I don't think any kid wants to hear that,
No.
you know? Like, that's very uncomfortable thought process, really. Like, it also, like, I don't know, I feel like when you are going through life, because I similarly, like, look back and look on how I grew up and look on how the way that my parents, I guess, behave. And I think, again, being a high achiever myself, like, that's why a big part of it is why I'm across the other side of the world as well, is because I've pulled myself away a little bit, and I've always known that I want something more, I want something bigger, and it's a very hard thing to discuss or even explain, really. Like, you know, you asked me before we started recording, like, you know, did your parents understand? And I think they understood partly, but they still don't fully understand, like, you know, my goals, my ambitions and whatnot. And a big part of that is I look back on, you know, how they go through life, and there are certain things that I'm like, that's not what I want, really. I need to, you know, pull those off, because they, again, like, I was quite fortunate. I had a good childhood, me and my sister, but, you know, I think being somebody also who has always knew that, like, I wanted something more, I knew I couldn't get that back there, really, right? So I think that's, like, very hard, because when you hear your parents tell you, oh, you know, like you were saying, I want to be you, you know, that's kind of, like, makes you a bit uncomfortable, makes me uncomfortable, because I'm like, well, you know, did I do the right thing, really? Like, did I pull too far or whatever? Have I become somebody completely different, really? But I think it's just something that you have to do, really. I
think then you've got the guilt comes back in, because then my mind goes straight to my grandparents, who I absolutely adored, and they were a big pillar in my life and a big support system, and they treated me like an absolute princess and adored me and my brothers, and I think, screw you. Why didn't you do that to your 6 children? Why are only 2 of them semi-surviving? How were they still here? Why? And I know times were different back then. We're talking the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. You know, this was not a time that you talked about mental health. That was swept under the rug. If you were, no one talked about hormones. No one had afterbirth care. Like the mental instabilities were through the roof.
Yeah.
So I can accept that.
Yeah.
But I still feel shit.
Yeah.
I still feel shit that I love them. And my mum is struggling because of them.
Yeah.
So I think me prospering and building what I've built has been my biggest success.
Yeah.
And accountability is huge for me. I have to accept my mum for the way she is. I can't change that. I've tried. Trust me, I'm a fixer.
Yeah, okay.
I've tried. I have that that nurturing side where I think you could be doing better. Let's try and get you better.
Yeah.
But what I came to realize a few years ago, and I don't know where I read it, but essentially it was that everyone's best looks different.
Okay.
And that was a hard pill for me to swallow because I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
What do you mean? If you're living in the slums, that's not your best. If you've got 7 kids and you're on the dole, that's not the best. There is work out there. There are ways that your children can still have a mother and still have school clothes or a uniform or shoes. There are other ways, and I that was a hard pill for me to swallow. So I try and switch my mind frame when I get in that in my headspace. It's okay. It's not. That's just their best. It's just their best. And again, the accountability comes in, and I have to just let it go. And my mum is the way she is, and I love her to death. But I'm at my point now where we're moving to Italy. We've packed our life up and we're leaving in 8 months.
Okay.
Because I need to remove myself from their life choices because they will continuously affect mine and my son's choices, and I don't want that for them. I need them to be able to prosper without feel like they're on that leash that I was on. You know, go and do that, but then come back to go and do that, but then come. I'll be here waiting.
Yeah.
And there's a guilt factor within that for them, and I don't want that for them. I don't want them to be raised like I was raised.
Yeah.
So we've decided to pack our life up and separate ourselves from our families and rebuild our journeys over in Italy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Like, I want to talk about the title of the book, but you sparked some interest. You know, you're moving to Italy in 8 months, is it? 8 months. That decision, because I think too, sometimes that's necessary. For me, it was necessary, you know, like you need to, but I think too, like, I always wonder as well, now 7 years later, oh, well, did I run? Like, should I, you know, should I have
stayed and fought it out?
Exactly, right? Was that thought process going through your guys' head at all? Or?
No, because I fought for her.
There you go.
I fought for her my entire life, and in every sense of the way, like her self-worth, and you can do this, Mum, I'm here if you want to do this, go and start that business, go back to the gym, anything she's ever wanted to do, I've been that pillar of support. And none of it's come to fruition, and how much more energy can I exert into her own life choices and not mine. So whatever I'm putting into her, I'm removing from my life, and that's not fair on me. So of course I'll miss them. I'll miss my mum and my brothers. My nono has just passed, unfortunately, last week.
No, I'm sorry.
But I loved him dearly.
Yeah.
But wherever his soul is now, he's with my nan and my auntie, and that's good. And now that was a relief for me, and that was more guilt for me, because I was like, I'm relieved that my grandfather has died. How shitty of that of me. But in all honesty, I said goodbye to him a long time ago. He's had dementia for 10 years. He didn't know my name, and that sucked. So for me to be able to release myself now and go and rebuild my life with my children and teach them the humble ways of living and actually living, not surviving, and chasing our tail all the time, that's what I'm going to do. And I don't feel guilty about it. I'll miss them, but that's as far as that goes.
I think too, like, after a certain point, you have to put yourself first, especially to survive. Because I think, like, one thing that I have always struggled with, being somebody that has run, you know, I've been put through a lot of trauma back home, which is why I ran. But I think, like, you have to put yourself first for me to survive, really. But, like, I've always struggled with, you get called selfish sometimes, right? Like, and I've gotten called selfish a lot of the times, because I'm now in a position where I will quote unquote be selfish, but it's more so I know that I need to put myself first in a lot of aspects, and at the same time I'm a giver. Like I'm very selfless really with a lot of things, and you know, I don't ask for a lot really, but I do know the importance of needing to put yourself first really, and I think that's very important to understand, because it's not necessarily selfish a lot of the times, because you need to put yourself first really, and nobody else will a lot of the times really. When it comes to the title, The Day I Died, where did that come from, and what does that mean to you, I guess? Because I can't, where did it come from? It came from your experience, of course, but like, what did that mean really to you?
So it's more of a figurative link, right? I'm clearly alive, so I didn't die. But with each of those events, I lost a part of me. And the biggest one was when I came out of that coma, and I genuinely, and I didn't explain it to anybody, I genuinely felt like a different human being. And I don't mean like, of course that event changed your life. Of course that's something someone sometimes can't come back from. But I don't mean it like that. I mean it was like something happened while I was in a coma, right? So I went to a psychic, and she told me that I was a walk-in. And a walk-in is where someone is on the verge of dying, near death, and they're usually in comas. And another soul comes in and switches their souls out to push them and boost them through the survival mode and get them to the other side back to Earth. When she told me that, I almost cried. Like that put everything I'd been trying to navigate in my head, it made sense to me. So when I say the day I died, I literally have felt like someone else I've gone. I think I listened back to recordings of me in hospital, and I don't even know who that woman is. It's very bizarre. And that was so enlightening to hear that. It was like, oh my God, I'm not crazy. That makes so much sense to me. Bizarre.
What did you have to overcome then? Because like, you know, I think when you go through experience like that, transformative is kind of a word that comes to me really, but like it is a bit of a struggle too, I guess, navigating coming out of that and then walking through life a little bit differently. Really, how did you walk through life after that experience?
With the absolute brutality of my ability, right? Nothing, I couldn't do anything. Like there was nothing that I couldn't put my mind to and succeed at now. I woke up from that coma, paralyzed from the waist down, catheter, nappy, absolutely no feeling, the world's most excruciating pain you've ever, I wouldn't wish it on my own worst enemy. I wouldn't pass it on. The person I hate in life, I still wouldn't go sit in that body. I wouldn't do it. It's one of those pains that I feel in my bones every day. I'll never get rid of it. And when I came out of that hospital after those 3 months, I realized what I'd succeeded at, and it wasn't just getting through the pain, and it was something that you can't even really describe it unless you've been woken up in a hospital and have no idea how you got there, realize you can no longer walk, and then end up walking out of hospital. What an achievement in 3 months' time. And the minute I got home, I knew I was going to finish my degree. I could have easily have said, oh no, I'm part disabled now. I can't do that. No, thank you. That degree was sitting there waiting for me. My husband had deferred for me because I had no idea what the hell was happening. And that was my first thing. I waited a year. I healed over that year. I restarted my styling business, and I went back to uni part-time. And I continued to raise my children, because if they had have seen me become a recluse, stay inside, I could have wheeled out of that hospital in a wheelchair. I could have come out in a walker. I walked out. And that set my tone for the trajectory of the rest of my life. Now, I thought I was strong then, before all this happened, But this was a level of strength mentally and physically that I didn't even know I had in me. Truly.
Yeah. Because that is phenomenal. 3 months, really.
There were people in that hospital that had been there before me, and they were still in wheelchairs. The doctors had said, I've never seen a recovery like this before. They were literally gobsmacked.
Yeah.
Mental.
And as a physio, you know, I know how phenomenal really that is. Like it does set, I guess, a bit of a shift in your mind, really, when you overcome something like that, really. Can you let the listener listening in on kind of the disability and what kind of you experienced, really?
Yep, so in a small, beautiful package, I had COVID.
Yeah.
And then I declined it was over a span of 3 to 5 weeks.
Yeah.
By January 30th, I had no memory. And I was diagnosed after multiple doctor's appointments, sent home. They had put me into a coma. They'd realised that I had encephalomyelitis and a rare antibody that attacked my immune system. So when I got COVID, instead of helping me heal, it literally chewed everything up in my body. It cut through the memory bank in my brain, so that's why I've got no memory of the weeks from January 30th to the middle of Feb, and then ate the myelin in my spine. So they put me into the coma just to monitor the organs, make sure nothing was shutting down, and see obviously how far the inflammation was going to go and the nerve damage. And I genuinely, zero memory. I've tried to look at photos. My husband and my mum have sent me images of me, like leading up to the weeks. I've got absolutely no recollection, and that is the strangest thing to me. To know that I had 2 children at home with me and have no memory of what the hell I was doing during the day. I was sleeping a lot. I just kept repeating myself, I'm tired, I need to sleep, I'm tired, I need to sleep. And I got to the point where my husband was like, you haven't bloody showered in 4 days. Like, what the hell? This is not, something's wrong. Not only are you normally very driven, you've got university assessments to be done, kids to get to school, and you're still in bed. So they absolutely fought to advocate for me, because I was barely talking. I was a zombie. And luckily one GP looked up from his paperwork and said, although her bloods have come back normal, you need to take her to emergency room right now. And they did, and that's where they found all the information. They were about to discharge me too from the hospital, and they ran back in and said, no, thank you, you need to keep her here. So if I had have been sent home, I would have been a vegetable or dead. 100%. There's no coming back from that.
Because that's not a small diagnosis at all, really. And I think people don't really, because you don't get trained in what that kind of stuff is, right? So like, I think people don't understand the severity of something like that, really. And the nerves and the brain are not a small thing, really. The spinal cord is not a small thing. And when you have that massive amount of inflammation, like, you know, you deal with a lot of repercussions, really. So it's not a small thing that you've overcome. And two, like, I think when it comes to now, like day to day, really, you have discussed like the things that you're still struggling with, but you've made kind of part of you, really. What are kind of those insights for the listener, really?
So I still have bladder issues. I had an underactive bladder, so the only way I was going to go home and be released back to my kids was to learn to self-catheterize. And if anyone has ever had a catheter, that is the most traumatizing thing you could ever have in your life. For anyone who doesn't know what a catheter is, it is a pipe that sits on the end of a bag, goes into your urethra, and then a balloon pops out into your urethra to stop it from being pulled out. And then your bladder is continuously drained 24 hours a day. That trauma alone with that bloody bag on my leg, that created so much fear for me. So for me to get home and the nurse and the doctors coming in going, Krysti-Glory, you can go home in 5 weeks time, but you need to learn to self-catheterize. I absolutely shit myself. How was I going to stick this tube in my urethra? Don't get UTIs, wash your hands properly, do it every 2 hours. If you get the right hole, is the right hole? Are you bleeding today? Am I going to have to do it in a public toilet? I'm not going to be able to go anywhere. I couldn't wait.
It's not a small thing.
It's huge. And such a hurdle. And I was only 32.
That's what I was just going to say too. You know, that's me as a physio working with the older population, I get that on the daily,
God.
but, you know, in your 30s,
And I felt disgusting.
Yeah.
I felt yuck and I felt old, and how was my husband ever going to look at me again? I was self-catheterizing like I was an 80-year-old woman.
Yeah.
And I had so much life to live. Like, how was I going to do this and having to stop and catheterize? How was I going to travel?
Yeah.
So that all went through my head. I ended up smashing it out. I was like, I have to get home to my kids. And so I made it work.
Yeah.
That was a big hurdle for me to jump. And then my bladder ended up doing a massive flip. I was just walking through the shops and it went, oh, let's just be an overactive bladder. So I pissed myself in the middle of Robina Town Centre.
Okay.
And again, mortified.
Yeah.
How is my husband going to love me? I'm going to have to wear pads. I had to buy big nappies. It was disgusting for me again. I just got over this hurdle and was feeling great and successful and like I've achieved something. And then it just did a flip on me.
Yeah.
And they don't have an answer why. They just said, I can't help you. There's no reason. You're going to have to wear pads. So instead of looking at the negatives, the positive was that I wasn't getting a UTI every 3 weeks, which meant I was off antibiotics, which means I could heal my gut now. And that helped me a lot. That got me over a hurdle. And then I went and got bladder Botox, and that changed my life.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But I still, besides all the bladder stuff, which has been the biggest hurdle outside of it, I can't orgasm at 32. And the specialist was like, oh yeah, that'll happen.
Yeah.
No one spoke to me about this in hospital.
That's the thing about conventional health, right? Like you get something as massive as what you went through, and then you have to later on deal with all of the repercussions and learn as they come.
Literally
really.
as
Yeah.
they come.
Yeah.
And I went back to him and I said, I can't orgasm. He's like, oh yeah, that'll happen. I said, but no one prepared me for this. I have a husband.
Yeah.
I'm only 32. So that was a hurdle for us.
Yeah.
I am very, very blessed to have a wonderful human being as my husband. He's an incredible man. But that I can't sit here and lie and say that hasn't been a struggle for us.
Yep.
And then I have pain every single day in my lower back, in my left leg. It's like someone's got a serrated knife just going up and down my thigh.
Yeah.
And I get cramps every day. Usually when I'm trying to sleep, they'll come up and they won't let me sleep. It has been a very, very long road.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm almost there.
Yeah.
And I feel there's a little bit of ignorance there and accountability. And I have to just accept this is part of the process. No one gave me a length of time that I'd be okay. They said it could take up to 10 years. So instead of wallowing in my grief, I went and got bladder Botox.
Yeah.
I take magnesium.
Yeah.
I go to the gym every day. I stretch and roll out when I have cramps. And I take CBD gummies to help me get to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to find a solution.
Yeah.
And then there's the high achiever in me.
Yeah.
And you can't stop there.
Yeah.
And so I traveled the world no matter how much fear I had with my bladder and the pain. I ran the 5K marathon a year after I was healing.
Yeah.
I'd never done a marathon in my life, so 5Ks was huge, and I beat my time by bloody 6 minutes.
There you go.
Never do it again, by the way.
Okay, there you go. Hey.
Sorry,
that's totally fine.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Once in a lifetime. That was just a tick off my bucket list.
Yep.
And
hey, that's fair. Exactly.
I can't run properly, so my legs go like this, like a Barbie doll, instead of moving around in a circular motion. So I have to physically say, lift your leg, lift your leg, and that's exhausting.
Yeah.
But those are the things that I take as wins.
Yeah.
And I know that they seem small to me. Anyone on the outside's like, oh my God, no, that's huge. But that's a small step considering what I had come from and where I had been literally having to lift my legs out of bed. So those are the things I won't say struggling with, dealing with.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've seen psychologists and they've helped me get through the trauma pain side of things.
Yeah.
But it's just a part of me now.
Yeah.
And I can't deny what I've been through.
Yeah.
And I don't wallow in my grief. I'm not that kind of woman. I like to find a solution and push past it.
Yeah.
And that's where that 1% growth comes into every day for me.
And it sounds like you're taking accountability, which I think is very important because you can just dwell on the negatives, and that's unfortunately what a lot of people do.
And there's a shit ton in this situation.
Exactly. And I'm not going to sit here and judge because everybody needs to go through it on their own and in their own way. But I think taking accountability and, we had this discussion earlier on because here in Australia, it's very conventional healthcare, right? And if you want something more, you do have to do the work and take the accountability. And it's an exciting space because I do see, coming from North America, where alternative health and conventional health have kind of blended, and they blended a while ago. And it's starting, the alternative space is starting to come out a bit more here in Australia, but you still do need to take the accountability to look at those means, like the Botoxes, like, you know, the other kind of avenues, really. And you can't really just sit there and expect, you know, your doctor, or expect things to just kind of fall on your doorstep, really. And that's where I think a lot of people, unfortunately, tackle things, really. But it also sounds like, you know, when we talk about negatives, positives, and looking at the positives, was that something that you have always had, like looking at the positives and things? No,
I've been a pessimist my entire life. Because I'm truly, after multiple psychology appointments, it's basically stems from when something good would come into our life, it'd be ripped out from underneath us every time, whether it was a new home or my mum's partner or some money. My mum's health would be like that, and then it would plummet. So I don't get excited about anything. It's safer for me to feel and work on the negative, and then if something positive comes out, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Whereas if I get excited and go, oh my God, this is going to be an absolutely incredible day, and then it rains, I'm like, what the fuck? So I will always expect the worst. Always. But I have children, and so I can't impose that on them. And my oldest is a little bit like that, but he has seen me go through enough. He was obviously part of this last, you know, event, and he was only 7 at the time, the poor little thing. So we will shift our mindset with him, and he knows a lot about my childhood, not the nitty-gritties, but enough to know why I am the way I am, and that I've accepted who I am, but I'm always there for growth, and I will always continue to work on myself, because if I'm a shitty human or a wife, then I'm going to be a shitty mother, and that's not what I want to be. So accountability is, we impose that on them, and we don't blame. We don't, you know, blame shift. You take accountability for your silly little action, and we'll get through it together. But pessimist has always made me feel safe. I will say that. That's probably the first time I've ever said that. My husband knows that. And he said to me not long ago, you are getting better. Like you're flipping the switch a bit quicker. But it's just easier for me to not get excited about anything and see what comes out of into fruition afterwards.
When let's backtrack maybe to that first experience of the cancer. What was that like? Because that was a young age, really, and that's not something that is, again, a common experience, especially the form that you had, really. At a young age, because it was your teenage years.
I was early 20s.
Early 20s.
But I'd had it since I was a teen.
So, because, again, like you said in the book, we think we're invincible at that age, really. What was your experience like coming out of that? Like, did that change anything when it came to being overly cautious or whatever? I never looked at sunbaking the same, naturally. It's not worth it to me anymore. If the sun hits my face in the car, I literally will cover my face. I put sunscreen on every day. I wear a hat. It's that event of my life made me realize that it could, number one, the first time it could be taken in a second, right? And then obviously the 2 after that just solidified all of that. But being so young and having so much of my life ahead of me, like I was recently engaged, we were planning a wedding, we wanted to have family and travel, but that just didn't feel like it was my time. That's as simple as I could put it. There's no like, I don't know, holistic, beautiful saying behind it. I was like, no, I'm not going. I'm not going. And my family was scrambling around me trying to find ways to get this cancer done over in Mexico and Panama and researching their asses off because the doctors had said she's gonna die. And I was just laughing. I didn't want it. It wasn't my time. That's as simple as I could put it. I was meant to be here longer. And that's how it panned out. I am very lucky. Luck played a lot into it, and to have that 1%, that low percentage factor be thrown in my face multiple times now, that's scary for me, because low percent is usually meant to mean it's very rare you're gonna get it. And it's happened to me 3 times. Nuts. So
when they got me out of the surgery, they'd taken all the muscle, they'd taken all the lymph nodes on the left side, and we went for the checkup, and the specialist had said, "You are very lucky. We have decided not to do chemo or radiation because it will just ruin your young body." So she's literally was like, "Please just take this as a win and go and live your life now."
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
We started planning our wedding like 2 months after.
Yeah.
We were married a year later.
You talk about, especially in the book as well, like, you know, you had those 3 experiences and they were the rare, you know, they were the 1% or the less than 1% really. And then you just talked about luck as well. Like, what does that make you feel? Like going through 3 extremely rare cases really, like, can you help, I guess, give the listener an insight on like what that does to your mindset when it comes to like, do you go through life now looking at luck a little bit differently, or what does that experience do for one?
I see myself as unlucky. That's the pessimist in me. I don't see myself as luck, because I find it easier for me to say that was a very unlucky moment for me and I made it out. I don't know. I don't know how I'd answer that. Obviously, it's changed. It's created a bit of fear in me. Like, for example, I've just started taking peptides, right? I've got perimenopause now, just to add it on to the bloody load of shit. So I'm on peptides, right? And I thought, crap, what if I get like a hemorrhage? Or, you know, that's just where my mind goes. Because I've been so unlucky. That's not luck to have a 1% desmoplastic melanoma, a 5% chance of having a severe hemorrhage after birth, and then a rare antibody encephalomyelitis after COVID. Like, no one had seen that in a specialist decision. Come on, like, that's just wild. And I walked out of all 3. Changed person, changed woman, changed mother every time. But I still think I'm very unlucky. And it's funny because my husband and I would always joke, she's so unlucky. Like, just shit would happen. And look, but maybe I do. Maybe it's time I spin that narrative and look at it as, Jesus Christ, I'm lucky.
What are you looking forward to? Like, having gone through everything that you are going through now, having the move, and, you know, it sounds like you guys have big plans coming up, really. What are you looking forward to coming up?
Restarting a life in a country that doesn't know my past.
All right.
I've never let it define me, but it's played a huge part. And I think I'll always feel that there's that little girl that didn't know how much she was going to survive. And I just want to be the mother. I want to be a mother now that's building a beautiful life for her boys. And I don't want it to define their childhood either. I don't want them to have to navigate their own fears because of mine or my unluckiness or my luckiness, whichever way we spin it. But they were mine to grieve, not theirs. And I do everything I can to not push that onto them. But yeah, I would think it would be moving to the other side of the world, to the country that feels more like home to us than this country does now, and restarting with people that don't know my trauma and can just see me for what I am now, which is a strong, successful, caring, empathetic survivor. I don't want to sit in that narrative forever, but this is a story that deserved to get out there, and people need to know that survival is hard work, but living is harder. And I don't want anyone to think that just because life is tough for them at this stage that it's always going to be like that. And to take risks. Take a risk once in a while and see how it pans out. You can still be the pessimist along the way. If it pans out, it's perfect. You're like, oh, well, that worked.
Exactly.
And if it doesn't, you're like, oh, I was right again. So it's a win-win. But yeah, taking what I've learned from these experiences, and I'm just going to leave them behind. And not carry the extra baggage over there. That sounds amazing. Sounds beautiful. Where can people find the book? Where can people find you? Maybe let's drop that, and then we will include that in the show note for you listening as well. So you guys can find my book on Amazon or Booktopia. Amazon's the best bet. You get it in like a week anyway. It's on Kindle as well. So if you're not a reader, it is not a big book by any means. The content is very heavy, and I say it's small but mighty like me. So you can read it in a night if you like. Please be aware if you've got your own trauma or struggles, it might bring up a few emotions for you. But in the end, I've survived, and I need everyone to know that you are capable of doing that, regardless of what your past has taught you and thought that you are worth. So Amazon and Booktopia, and you can find me on Instagram as well at Krysti-Glory.author. That'll be in the show notes because my spelling is backwards.
Okay.
It's Krysti-Glory, so that's my full first name.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I don't like Krysti, so
okay.
I say that in every podcast.
Yeah.
I'm very strong. I'm the only Krysti-Glory in the world, so I will take that and run with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a very memorable name.
Yeah.
So find me there. I'm always open to discussions, but you'll find my entire story on there, including books, any other podcasts I've been on. I've just been featured in Mamma Mia as well.
Congrats.
Thank
Amazing.
you.
Yeah, that's not a small thing as
No.
well.
Oh my God, I fought so hard to get that. That was resilience dug up from everywhere I could bloody find it. And we finally got the publication up last week or 2 weeks ago.
Oh, cool.
So that's amazing. I'm so impressed with it. So that can be found on my site as well.
Perfect.
That's
amazing. Yeah, well, that will be in the show note for you listening, so you can find that there. But thank you so much for sharing today. And, I think for you listening as well, like, I agree the book is quite heavy, but I think too, like, it's important to, I think, open up and read other people's experiences with heaviness as well, because I think we can, relate, and we all have a different story, a different version of trauma. And I think too, like, in this day and age, we want to be better at healing. And I think that starts with, I guess, others doing the hard work 100%. And speaking up, really, whether it be through your book or whether it be through talking or whatever. So I think too, like, be cautious that it's heavy, but like, don't let that deter you from reading something like this, really. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for coming on. And good luck with Italy. That's amazing.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited.